Most of the Republican candidates for the presidency have only one goal for the Department of Education, and that's to kill it as quickly as possible. Now, Ben Carson stands out. He has a use for it, but it's a little bit of an odd one. Let's watch.
National standards for education.
Absolutely not. The closer education is to home, the better the education is.
Shut down the Department of Education.
I actually have something I would use the Department of Education to do.
Would it be pack boxes for the State Department? The IRS?
No, it would be to monitor our institutions of higher education for extreme political bias and deny federal funding if it exists.
Well, like that.
So there is a purpose for it, and it's to act as basically Big Brother for professors. And he says for political bias. What he means is liberal political bias at universities. I don't think he's concerned about economists pushing for supply-side principles. I don't think he's going to be making sure that they lose their job. But what effect do you guys think this would actually have?
Well, again, what's the next question? So how, Ben? How does that work out? How would you transform the Department of Education, because it only watches universities and colleges, to make sure there's not too many libs getting created in our country? So what else does it do now, Ben, that you're going to stop it from doing? And how are you going to fund them now doing this? You're going to go to UCLA and say, okay, we're going to put cameras across your entire campus. Hey, you putting that new building in, the new econ building? Yeah, we're going to put cameras in there too. Every university in the country, really? How does that work, Ben? Oh, it's too many boring details. I'm just going to say it so that stupid commentators can go, I like that. Good stuff.
Yeah.
This isn't a game.
Because they hear political bias and they think, oh, I think that's real. That's all they hear. They don't think about the details. They don't think about the fact that the Department of Education actually serves a number of different purposes. This is a gigantic organization.
And the closer you keep schools, the first half of that question was, his answer was, the closer you, well, first off, he'd get rid of the Department of Education, because the closer you keep schools to home, the better. Which homes, which schools, elementary, middle school, our parents, is this homeschooling now? How does this work? Is this community schooling? Are we building buildings where seventh graders are going to get taught by their parents and their aunts and uncles now? How is this going to work, Ben? So if it's in the middle of whatever neighborhood you guys say there's too many single parents in, how are they going to start suddenly becoming teachers that educate children enough that they can even make it to these colleges? You're going to make sure there's not too many liberals in. How does this going to work, Ben? How does this all come together? Our schools are shit already, so now we're going to just, closer you get to home, the better. I thought you just said the homes are horrible and we got too many bad parents that don't know what they're doing. How are they going to start teaching? This is so stupid.
If he does this, we will lose our status as #1 in the world in education. It's going to be gone. I don't actually believe it with that. Now, you're not originally from the U.S., so...
I was going to say, I don't think you have that currently, John. Well, spoiler alert there for you.
I think there's a 1 in there. It might be like 31 or something.
31.
This is America. We're #1.
We're #1. Yeah. We're #1, baby.
It comes with the
same I mean, that to me seems completely counterintuitive. The fact that it's widely known, and it's a stain on the magnificence of the flag that America does not have the best educational system in the world. So it seems counterintuitive to then abolish the department that oversees it, because is that how else would you how would you affect change? You would affect change. So he would advocate, John, help me out here, but he would advocate change at the local level, much like sort of self-governance without any overarching administration that's just clumsy and gets in the way.
Yeah,
and in a non-prescriptive fashion. Is that really what it is?
How does that fund? Or people who don't know how they're doing it, they just create it. It gets built. I mean,
it's funded at the local level, with the idea being that way the community gets to put their money into only educating either the kids of their area, or probably you could take it a step farther and say their own kids. Like, that's what private schools are all about. I'm not going to spend my money so that our country is filled with people who can do math and write well. What's the point? My kids go to private schools. Why should I pay for public schools? Like, that's what they actually believe. And they think that when you allow the federal government to have control over, to any extent, the curriculum of primary school, secondary school, or colleges, then, now you're going to force them to learn about, like we did the video about Christopher Columbus, the actual facts. No, I think that Texas should be able to just fill a book with a bunch of bullshit, and then that's what people have to read. They don't want that level of control, and they certainly don't want the federal government to be in control of money going to funding for education around the country, because they want to put the funds into their own kids, not the kids of some people living in Chicago.
About those folks.
Exactly, as if there is not some significant benefit in a million different ways to being filled with people in your country who are educated, who can do jobs that are fitting in 2015. You need a certain level of education. And to go back to the other point about how they would actually do this, how do you investigate thousands of universities potentially for political bias, is it would literally be out of 1984. And this is what they already do. They would encourage students to rat out their teachers. And that's what we see now.
Is that right?
It's generally conservative students, although not 100%, libs do this too, will write editorials or try to contact their congressman like, oh, my professor is teaching this and I don't like it. And that's what they would set up.
Theory of evolution.
More than likely. We've had those court cases.
Sure.
And that's what they want. They want everyone to play big brother to their professors, so the professors will be so scared that they won't say anything controversial. They won't rock the boat. And that's fine from the point of view of these conservatives who are naturally suspicious of higher education to begin with. Oh, you didn't mention his perfectly circular goatee. It's odd. Watch him. The next time you see him in a video, you're going to notice it. His goatee is not straight on the sides. Perfectly circular. Anyway, okay.
He uses a cup or something like that at home to kind of, is that what you're
That would
suggesting?
save time.